So look, we all know Donald Trump is in decline, right? Cognitive decline, physical decline. It's obvious. We see it every single day. But some days you see it a little more than others. And tonight is one of those nights, folks. So Trump, he gets on Truth Social, right? Takes those tiny little Dorito-colored fingers of his and it's all because of one man. The one guy who gets under his skin more than anyone. And that's Gavin Newsom, who has been, for the last 2 weeks, really the entire Trump presidency, if we're being honest, just ripping into this guy nonstop. And it has led Donald Trump to just collapse tonight into this angry, dementia-addled post on Truth Social that we are going to get into. Trust me, we're going to break it all down. But it starts with what Governor Newsom had to say. He put out 2 videos, and he's talking about how Trump's tariff failure just shows his weakness, how he tries to come off as this tough guy when really he's just an insecure little bully, and also just, in Newsom's own words, what a jackass this guy is. So I want to start with those 2 clips first, okay? And then we're going to get to Trump's just this posting meltdown that is showing his cognitive decline so badly that the internet is just, people are stunned by what they're reading tonight.
There will not be a fair and free election in the United States of America as we know it unless we win back the House of Representatives this November. He's not screwing around. In Fulton County yesterday, I met with the commissioners there. He's not screwing around. He's trying to nationalize election one day, 2 days later says, oh, it's just in 15 blue states. This SAVE Act and what he's trying to do, very familiar here in South Carolina.
Yes, yes.
It's not just about ID, it's about registration and who should vote, who can vote. This is happening on our watch in real time in the United States of America 2026. For things to change, we need to change. So my approach changed. That switch came off. It was a bright light, not darkness. It was daylight. Do something different. Call this out. Fight fire with fire. And you know what happens? It's always the case. Also use humor. You know what all fascists and dictators have in common? They don't like being mocked.
No.
And part of it is this mystique. They want us to respond outraged because it suggests they're more powerful than they actually are. Donald Trump is weakness. Weakness masquerading as strength.
Yes.
He's in retreat right now. He's in retreat because of all of you, because the steel spine of the folks in Minnesota, because those of you that have showed up here and all across the country at the No Kings rally, you guys are stepping up and stepping in. You're the freedom fighters. You're the patriots in this country. You're the ones standing up for freedom and free speech. You're the ones that are embracing the flag, not Donald Trump. He's trying to wreck this country. And it's one of the great grifts we've ever seen in human history. And let's call that out. Breaking things is not strength. Tearing things down, that's not strength. That Rayburn building, I don't know if anyone, Sam Rayburn had a great quote. He said, any, forgive the language, jackass can tear down a barn, but it takes a skilled carpenter to build one. Tearing things down is not strength. Trump is not a builder. He's a jackass.
So I got to say, I got to give Newsom credit here because he's got the perfect read on Donald Trump, on the cognitive decline, yeah, but also on the insecurity piece, because that's really what all of this comes down to. Donald Trump is just a deeply, deeply insecure person, and so is everyone around him, by the way. Like his whole administration is just insecure people all the way down. I mean, think about it. You got Kash Patel flying around on private jets, partying with Team USA. Like, bro, why? Why do you need to do that? You don't do that if you're good with yourself, right? And then Pete Hegseth, oh my God, Pete Hegseth with the makeup and the whole like tough guy weightlifting thing he does, the whole rah-rah act. And okay, I have to say this. I'm sorry. He's out here claiming he put up 315 on bench press. He didn't. Those were fake weights. They were fake. That's been bothering me and I needed to say it. Okay, moving on. But But that's the whole point, right? Trump is a guy who mommy and daddy just never gave enough hugs to. That's the reality. And so he goes and fills his entire administration with people who are just as broken and insecure as he is. That's what he does. And so when you look at tariffs through that lens, it clicks. It's not just the corruption, right? And it is massive corruption, don't get me wrong. But it's also just Trump wanting to feel big, wanting to blow himself up and act tough and pretend he's some kind of real man when the bluster is just, that's it. That's all there is. There's nothing behind it. And Gavin nailed it. He's exactly right. Trump uses this stuff to extract as much as he possibly can, but also just to hurt people, to inflict pain, to take his insecurities out on working Americans who are now, because of his illegal tax, that's what it is, who are paying more for groceries, paying more for any commodity. Basically, everything costs more now. And it's not even just about the money for Trump. He does it because he wants people to be scared of him. He needs that. But nobody is, man. Nobody's scared of you. People look at you and they see makeup globbed all over your hands. They see the cankles that Caroline Leavitt is desperately trying to hide. You can't even read a speech anymore. The cognitive decline is just, it's obvious. It's right there. And so Trump clearly just furious at what seems like his biggest political foe right now, and honestly, probably someone he's thinking about as a future opponent. He gets on Truth Social tonight and just shows everybody how bad his dementia has gotten. Trump wrote on Truth Social, wow, Gavin Newsom just dropped out of the presidential race, President DJT. And by the way, Donnie, it's 2026. There is no presidential race right now. Gavin Newsom hasn't announced anything. No candidate has. And oh, by the way, you're not allowed to run again. Dumb little Donnie. Let's make that crystal clear. And nobody wants you to, no matter how much you sit there talking about your fake polls. I don't even know what Donald Trump is referring to half the time anymore. But of course, Gavin Newsom right now is on a book tour. And we've seen this before, right? We see the book tour from candidates who are ramping up. I don't think it's not exactly a state secret that Governor Newsom is probably going to run for president. And actually we have some pretty big news to break on that front. On the book tour front, not the presidential front. That's coming soon. And if you happen to live in New Hampshire, you might want to pay a little extra attention to that. But we're going to save that for another day. But yeah, Newsom is basically letting everybody know, right? Like, he hasn't said the words exactly, but come on. We all know what this is. Gavin's running. And I think right now he's leading as the front runner. Obviously, a lot can happen. There's going to be a lot of candidates. And honestly, we don't need to get into the whole 2028 thing right now. I think what we should be focused on is the midterms and just beating the crap out of these fascists. That's the priority. But what is Donald Trump even talking about? He is clearly collapsing internally. He sees his polls are garbage. He sees Gavin Newsom beating up on him publicly in the most humiliating way possible, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like that Gavin has energy. He doesn't like that Gavin can speak in coherent sentences. And honestly, he doesn't like when anyone can do that. He doesn't like it when John Ossoff does it. He doesn't like it when Zirin Banani does it. He certainly doesn't like when any woman does it, especially a woman of color. That really gets to him. And it all comes back to the insecurity. But here's the thing that I think people miss. It's not just the insecurity about himself. Right? We know that's there. But Donald Trump is reckoning with something bigger. He has talked extensively lately about his own mortality. He knows the end is coming. Why else? Why else would he be literally trying to carve his name into stone on the Kennedy Center or the ballroom or that stupid arch that nobody wants on some new street in D.C.? It's because he understands, deep down he understands, that his legacy is already set. And there is nothing he can do, nothing he can build, nothing he can erect. No airport, no Grand Central Station that he can slap his name on that will change the fact that he will be remembered as the worst president in American history. That's it. That's the legacy. And that, my friends, if you need a little joy tonight, that scares the absolute crap out of dementia-addled Donnie. So if you need something to look forward to, that's it. That's what you got. And if you need a little bit of excitement, something that really just gets under Donald Trump's skin, just listen to this clip from Governor Newsom.
The Supreme Court struck down most of President Trump's tariffs this week. He's already using different authorities to impose a 15% global tariff, vowing to forge ahead even without Congress. What do you do?
Well, what does anyone do? Are you going to move your factory from overseas and onshore it with 150-day certainty on a 15% tax or tariff? I mean, the whole thing is a farce. I talk about petulance. It was 10% 2 days ago, maybe 20% tomorrow. I mean, this is madness. He's flailing. He's a punch-drunk boxer. He's just, he's just trying to hit anything, a shadow. And he's a shadow of himself. He's lost a step or two. Under the IEEPA, we were the first state to sue. I was out there in the Central Valley talking about how this is going to impact ranchers and small businesses and farmers, the ag community, my state larger than any other state in the country. And Justice Roberts, by the way, basically our arguments were literally laid out in detail in his response. So it was always an illegal act. He needs to return that money, needs to refund that money with interest. He can do that in a nanosecond. They can do that electronically. They can do electronically. They have the tariff codes. They have the ability. They do refunds all the time. They have the ability to do that. The problem is for families, it's been about $1,701 a year. That's a different requirement that I think he has to pay the American people back. I saw Bessent out there almost gleeful. He was gleeful that no, we won't be doing it. This is Dumb and Dumber, Trump and Bessent. They've wrecked this economy. 1.4% GDP growth in the last quarter. Inflation back up to 3%. The worst jobs market we've seen since 2013. 2.2% GDP for the entire year. He inherited 2.8. It's a wrecking ball presidency. He's wrecking this economy. His entire economic paradigm is mass deportations, tax cuts for billionaires, and tariffs. And he's been exposed. He's a fraud. And by the way, the tariff, this is a self-dealing operation. This is about his personal portfolio. You know exactly what he did in Vietnam with the tariffs. He used them to get a deal on his golf course to fast track his development. Connect the dot. This is unprecedented grift happening in real time. That's reflected in what just happened with the tariff decision in the Supreme Court. It was a profound moment for this administration.
And that right there, that is a man who gets under Donald Trump's skin in a way that genuinely frightens him. And look, I know there are people out there, and I'm one of them, honestly, who want to see Newsom go further, push back harder on ICE, take on the billionaires more aggressively, make California the state that leads the fight for a wealth tax. I'm right there with you on all of that, but we got time. We got time to have those conversations and ask those tough questions. But for now, that's going to do it for tonight. If you got something out of this, share it around, get this in front of people who need to hear it, and just keep showing up. That's all I ask. Keep showing up, keep pushing back, keep making noise, because that's what scares them. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.